Hello, welcome to Japan, Korea, MINIPEDIA. Today's session 4 of the series. I am going to carry on this program for a long time so that I can have really hundreds of programs which can be hopefully will form a sort of online encyclopedia that deals with all important, interesting topics regarding Japan and Korea in a comparative way. And so this YouTube will be uploaded on every Tuesday and Friday. So your participation and support and continued interest will be very much appreciated. Well, today our main subject is localities. Let's compare key localities of North Korea, South Korea, and Japan. The basic division of administration of three countries is, first of all, do in North Korea, also same do in South Korea. This Chinese character do literally means way, road. And Japanese case, they use this term ken, or prefecture in English. So there are 43 prefectures in Japan. The capital city of North Korea is, as you know, Pyongyang, and South Korea is Seoul, and Japan is Tokyo. And we have these special cities in North Korea, South Korea, and Japan. In North Korea, we have Nampo, Rason, and Kaesong. In South Korea, we have lately the Sejong City, which is sort of Washington, D.C. of Korea. Korean government is trying to move the most of government functions to this Sejong City, which is about 2 hours drive from Seoul to the south. But so many things are concentrated in Seoul, in Korea, so it is quite still not carried out as planned. Anyway, we have a Sejong special city in Korea. In Japan, there is no concept of special city, but you have this fu. This fu Chinese character means really government, actually governing body, because as you know, Kyoto has been the capital of Japanese imperial empire for a long time, and Osaka, which is very near from Kyoto, has been the commercial and cultural sort of capital city of Japan before all those functions were moved to Tokyo today. So Osaka and Kyoto are fu, not city in Japan, which we'll discuss later. Also, we have special provinces. Province in South Korea, it is Jeju. Some of you may have traveled to Jeju Island, which is a big island in the southernmost part of Korean Peninsula, and in the middle of island we have a volcano. So Jeju is one do. At the same time, it is a Jeju special province. And Hokkaido, yes, Hokkaido, as you know, is a big square-sized island in the north of Japanese Archipelago. And Hokkaido, do here means way, the same do. So Hokkaido is not typical Japanese province, which is prefecture. It's more as a more special status. Now let's take a look at the Korean Peninsula before the coming of current modern period. Basically, we can divide them into three periods. On the second line in the title section, we have a Three Kingdom era from 57 BC to 668 AD. Then we had unified, in a sense, unified Korea. Korea, actually, the kind of Chinese character for that Korea on the right side was pronounced as Korea. That's how we have this country name Korea today, Korea, is based on that two Chinese characters, which is pronounced in Korean language as Korea. Korea was a unified kingdom, but as you see in the map on the right side, the territory didn't include today's full Korean Peninsula. It has about 3/4 of peninsula in that brown colored region, and toward the northward actually was another tribe. A country called Yeojin, which was part of Chinese, one of Chinese tribes in the northeast. Okay, and then after that, we have a Yi dynasty, which continued from 1392 to 1897. Recent period, just before the formation of modern Korean governments, and it was a long, long dynasty which lasted for more than 5 centuries, and this dynasty has been, in a sense, a prototype of so many things of Korea today. Now, that's why this term, prototype modern Korea, really the Korean Peninsula as we understand today as one completely controlled territory by Koreans. It used to have 8 provinces though. So even though we don't have this 8-do system today, but still this term, 조선 8도, 8도 in Joseon, is a very important notion for Korean people in terms of history, in terms of memory, folklore, etc. So many, even songs and stories and novels carry this term 조선 8도 as a kind of symbolic conception of the unified Korean and unified Korean people, which is now divided into South and North Korea. So this prototype 8 region, let me read one by one from the northeast to southwest. 1 is Hamgyong province, 2 Pyongan province, 3 Hwanghae province, 4 Gangwon province. As you see, Gangwon province today is divided into North Korea section and the South Korea section. And 5 Gyeonggi. Well, Gyeonggi-do is basically belong in South Korea, but some small areas on the northern the border of Gyeonggi-do belongs to North Korea. Then we have Chungcheong province, number 6, and number 7 Gyeongsang, and number 8 Cholla. Now here you will see that Jeju Island is a part of Jeollado. That has been their way during the Yi dynasty area. So these are Joseon 8도 8 province systems. So even though we don't have time to discuss interesting folk tales and etc., this is really an important element in the Korean people's imagination, political imagination, as a sort of ideal type of ideal status of Korean people and the country, not divided by, not interrupted by political ideology. And this is today's North Korea under the North Korean communist government regime. They changed a lot. So let's go over the name of the provinces from the northeast to southwest. On top right of the map, we have a Hamgyong Bukdo, used to be Hamgyongdo, right? But now divided into north and south. So Hamgyong, Bukdo, and below it is Hamgyong-namdo, South Province. And to the left, we have new provinces with new names that didn't exist during the Joseon period, which was Jagangdo, Ryangangdo, and they are bordered with northeast China. And on the left, we have a Pyeonghan-do, Pyeonghan North Bukdo, and then to the southeast, you have Pyeonghan-namdo. And at the left tip of Pyeonghan-bukdo, we have Sinuiju Special Zone. Well, Sinuiju is a famous city in the Korean history, but this currently, Sinuiju Special Zone is very important in terms of North Korea and China relationship, and even the economic survival and development of North Korea, because it is a really major entry point or exit point between China and North Korea. So, as you know, China is North Korea's really critically important ally, and North Korea depends on Chinese assistance a lot. So there are two bridges between Sinuiju and Dandong of China, but so the Sinuiju is a very special city for North Korean regime. And below Pyeonghan-namdo, we have Pyongyang, capital city of North Korea. And then below Pyongyang, we have Hwanghae provinces. Used to be one, but now it is also the north and the south. And to the east, we have Gangwon-do, which we just discussed. Actually, northern part of Gangwon-do, and the southern part belongs in South Korea. And there are 4 special cities, but we will get to talk about it when we discuss North Korean economy in the future. Now, South Korea has as I mentioned, one special city is obviously Seoul City, which is now quite renowned metropolis in the world, and we have 8 metropolitan cities. Okay, they are all metropolitan cities were developed in the course of economic and administrative development in the post-war period. From the top right, we have Gangwon, and to the left, we have in yellow Gyeonggi province. And Gyeonggi-do has actually 2 important entities. One is Seoul, which is the capital city of South Korea, and then to the left, you have Incheon. As you know, Incheon has the largest port city, very important seaport for trading and with all countries over the world. And also Incheon has a really major international airport. Many of you who have traveled to Korea, must have gone through is Incheon airport. So below Gyeonggi, you have a Chungcheong region, Chungcheong South on the left and Chungcheong North on the right. And between two Chungcheongs, we have 2 special cities. One is Sejong, which I mentioned as a special city. Also, there is a big city called Daejeon. And on the left side, west side, we have Jeolla provinces, north and south. And to the east, we have Gyeongsang province, also north and south. And to the east of Gyeongsang, we have Ulsan and Busan. Busan is second largest city in South Korea, which is very important also. The oldest port city in South Korea. And Ulsan was developed in the post-war period, particularly under Park Chung-hee president regime. It was selected as a special industrial development zone. So there are so many important factories such as Pohang Steel, Hyundai Automobile, etc. So probably if you drive cars made by Hyundai, those cars must have been assembled in Ulsan factory, I guess. And then we have Jeju Island, which is today special province not belonging to Jeolla, in the like in the Yi Dynasty era. Okay, so again, I'd like to emphasize this, 8 special cities. So if you want to be familiar with Korean geography, or if you want to work in Korea, you should be familiar with these 8 special cities that belong to diverse provinces. Now, please take a look at the bottom part of this slide. Seoul special city is a special city, and number 1 in Gyeonggi-do, and number 2 Incheon. This is a metropolitan city. The Chinese character means wide area city, and number 2, and number 3 Daejeon, metropolitan city, is between Chungcheong North and South provinces. And just above Daejeon, we have number 8, which is the latest recognition, latest appointment as a special self-governing city. So the name is different, right? It's a special self-governing city. Seoul city's official name is Seoul Special City. So the Korean government's intention is to replace Seoul with this Sejong city. So they should, actually assign the term special. But at the moment, it is self-governing city, not belonging to, central administration. Okay. Then we have Daegu, which is the most important city in Gyeongsang-Buk-do province. I mean, well, I wish to have the opportunity to talk about so many Korean forms and peoples, etc. For instance, Gyeongsang-Buk-do is the home of the founder of Samsung Group, Lee Byung-chul, and so Daegu is actually quite also Gwangyuk, large area city, has a long tradition, has many good historical recognitions too. Number 5, Ulsan, I just mentioned, that is a really specially created industrial city on the east coast. And then we have 7, Gwangju, in the Jeolla Namdo province. Well, Gwangju is a very important city in the sense that politically, in the post-war Korean history, there were some, political upheavals, in a sense, intra-country conflicts between political groups, etc. And there was a major citizen, movement in Gwangju, in the past period. So still Gwangju is remembered as in a sense, important city that symbolized the democratic development of Korea. Okay, then let's move to Japan. And I'm sorry that there are too many Chinese characters, and I hope that someday you will be able to recognize and read all these, Japanese place names in Chinese characters. Now, there are actually 8 Japanese archipelago is divided into. First of all, we have a mainland Japan. Main Japan consists 4 major islands, right? We have Hokkaido in blue, and in the middle we have long stretches, island from the red part all the way down to violet. And number 7 is another island. Then we have a green Shikoku, Kyushu. So there are 4 major islands. But in terms of administration, they consist 8 regions. Number one, I just assigned the number in red. So number one is Hokkaido region, and number 2 is just below it in red. We have a Tohoku region. That has 6 prefectures, but let's worry about prefectures later. And number 3, Kanto, very important, right? Because we have 6 prefectures and Tokyo metropolis there. Number 4 is green in the middle, Chubu. I mean, even the term Chubu means the middle part. So it's a really middle part. We have 9 prefectures. And as we'll discuss all those regions, there are so many, Niigata, Toyama, they're famous for, heavy snow in the winter. So many famous novels have a background of, with these, snowing regions of Northeast. Chubu region. And number 5, yellow. Below Chubu is Kinki. Kinki literally means king is near. Ki is actually Kyoto. So in the past, before Tokyo became the capital city of Japan, Kyoto has been the capital city for so many centuries. So the area surrounding Kyoto, which is Ki, is called Kinki, near Kyoto area. So we have here 5 prefectures, and Kyoto, Fu, you just mentioned in the earlier, right? Fu, and Osaka Fu, 2 Fus and 5 prefectures. I mean, in a sense, second most important area is Kanto today, politically, economically, but you have a second important region should be Kinki region. Then 6 is a Chugoku. Chugoku is not China. China, Chinese character for China, PRC is the same middle country, Chugoku. But here, Chugoku is not Chinese Chugoku, but Japanese usage of Chugoku. Region in the middle of Japanese archipelago has 5 prefectures, and behind that Chugoku, number 7 is a 3rd island, right? I mentioned here Hokkaido, then Honshu Island, then Shikoku, then Kyushu Island has 4 prefectures. There are so many interesting stories about Kyushu, such as famous Mitsubishi Group founders were the sailors in Kochi region, who became today's globally renowned Mitsubishi Group, right? Such as there's one interesting story. And Kyushu in green has 8 prefectures, including Okinawa, which is far away actually from Kyushu Island. So Japan has 1 To. To is in the red. Okay, I mean the box on the light. Tokyo. I just lined it in red. Tokyo metropolis, and 1 Do is Hokkaido in green at the top right, and 2 Fu are in the middle below, Kyoto and Osaka Fu, and the remaining basic unit are 43 prefectures. So if you hear Japanese prefecture, then you should think that it is one of 43 prefectures, not Tokyo, not Kyoto, not Osaka, not Hokkaido. Okay? Good. Now, let's go back to this 4 island story thing. We have, I just circled them, Hokkaido island in itself, but it is really huge. As you see, in the bottom, we have Kyushu region and Shikoku region having more than 10 prefectures, I guess. It's smaller than, about the same size as Hokkaido. Hokkaido should be maybe about the size or even larger than South Korea today. But it's 1 Do, and so many beautiful sites, so many delicious food, etc. And also, if you go to top the northern part of Hokkaido, you will see really Black Sea, over which the Russian islands are actually seen when the weather is fine. Then we have a huge circled Honshu. Honshu literally means main island. That has several regions already inside. That includes Tokyo and Osaka area, and also Shikoku, etc. Then we have Shikoku and Kyushu. Now, if you go to Japan, you will hear the expression Kansai or Kanto, or Kanto region or Kansai region. In the middle, we have a thick, green line from top left to bottom right. There's a rough dividing of the Japan into two, based upon the Kan. That is, Kanto means the east of Kan and the west of Kan. So, I mean, it may sound funny that how come in this modern world of high technology, how come you can divide Japan into two kind of imagined spaces. One is east of Kan and west of Kan, Kansai, Kanto. So now what is Kan then? Where is Kan exactly? I think it is controversial. But anyway, it belongs to a village in Gifu Prefecture. In the middle, we have a GIF, Gifu Prefecture. And in the Gifu Prefecture, there is one small village carrying the term Kan. So one theory is that actually in the feudal age period, there was many wars between Kanto armies and Kansai samurai armies, and there was a huge battle in the Kanto plain. So that was the beginning of this dividing of Japan into Kanto and Kansai. But anyway, you should remember this word, because if you say some dialect in Japanese, people will ask you, do you speak Kansai dialogue? Or do you like Kanto food? I like Kansai food. Kanto food is too medium, simple, but Kansai food is a bit too salty, etc. So like if you go to US, in good and bad senses, people talk about the South or Midwest, that kind of thing, notion. Not administrative, not political, but in folklore, in ordinary living. Are you from Midwest? Are you from the South? Such as, right? So Kansai, Kanto is a very important notion related to geography. And that dividing line actually is based upon the village carrying the character Kan in the Gifu Prefecture. Very mountainous there. And the western is the dividing line. Okay. Well, let me summarize today's talk in two sentences. One is the Korean Peninsula had been divided into North Korea and South Korea after Korean War from 1950 to 1953. Since then, the two countries, North and South, a very sad story, have administrative zones that are based on the E dynasty system, 8-do, right? 8-do, each do became North and South. Yet with modification, factoring in a new administrative as well as political considerations. So new government, new regime, make new cities and attach new names, etc. And that kind of changes are relatively rare in Japan. The administrative zoning of Japan has been relatively consistent because there was no major external influences. This is very important, right? I mean, South Korean and North Korean leaders, changed the names and etc. for political reasons, because they got the power due to political upheavals and accidents and etc. So, overall, modern Korean history has been very, in a sense, dynamic and volatile, while Japanese history has been very very stable, except for Second World War and the defeat in the war and the rule by the Americans in the post-war period. But those things didn't alter those administrative dividing and considerations. The key factors in Japanese administrative zoning have been geographical, not political, conditions, such as Japan consists of many islands that contain high mountains. So very naturally, in a sense, Japanese admin zones have been divided and named, etc. Just by mountains and seas and etc. natural conditions. Okay. Well, this is it for today. As I said, I will carry on this program for a long time. I want to compare any meaningful things between Japan and Korea. So your suggestion will be very much respected. I'll try to, consider your inputs and requests. And if you have any questions or points to make, please contact me at that email address. Thank you very much.